Ziggurats, and forgotten gods. The mysteries of temple life. As the dust of Uruk settles behind you, imagine walking slowly quiet lightyward, a towering structure on the horizon. It rises in layers, step upon step, like a giant stairway to the heavens. This is a ziggurat, and in the soft golden light of the Mesopotamian dawn, it looks almost like a mountain pulled from the earth by human hands. There are no inner chambers. Here Ziggurats were not like the temples you may imagine from later eras. They were platforms for the gods, made of sun-baked brick, layered with and sometimes painted in bright colors long since faded away. At the top a shrine, small, silent, and the divine. You might never go up there. Most people wouldn't. But the temple complex at the base, that's where the rhythm of spiritual and economic life beats the loudest. You see, the temple wasn't just a religious site, an engine of commerce, administration, and ritual. The god of Uruk, for example, was Inanna, goddess of love, war, and fertility. Her priests and priestesses maintained her temple with careful precision. They chanted hymns, they performed offerings, they tracked the stars above and maintained the archives below. Every act was ritual, every grain of barley accounted for, every candle flickering before the gods carried meaning. Inside the temples, storehouses, workers managed vast quantities of grain, wool, oil, and wine. Receipts were etched into soft clay, which, when dried, became permanent. One wrong mark could mean an error in taxes, rations, or offerings. Precision mattered. And then there were the rituals. Some were a daily pouring water, lighting lamps, anointing statues with oils. The gods, it was believed, needed care. They needed to eat, to drink, to be clothed and washed. These acts weren't symbolic. They were seen as real. The statues of the gods were not mere symbols. They were inhabited, alive, in some way. The presence of the divine was physical. The god dwelled in that room. And the duty of the priests was to keep them content, to keep the city in harmony. And yet, so many of those gods are now forgotten. Their names, once spoken with reverence, are now little more than faded wedge-shaped inscriptions on crumbling clay. They ruled over grain, healing, the underworld, the patterns of the stars, and the fate of kings. But their stories, their rituals, mostly lost. Still, traces remain. Take the priestess Enheduanna, daughter of She was high priestess of the moon god Nana, and perhaps the first named author in history. Her hymns survive, rich with poetic, longing, praise, and the struggle for divine favor. And through her voice, we glimpse a world where the divine wasn't distant, it was immediate, present, intertwined with every crop harvest, every illness, every birth, every decision. But life inside the temples was also about control. Temples owned land, collected taxes, enslaved laborers. They influenced kings and wars. Their architecture might have reached the sky, but their power reached deeper into law, economy, and the hearts of people who could barely feed themselves. To walk beneath a ziggurat was to walk beneath centuries of belief and centuries of hierarchy.